like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Na Diorpop Purple Heart. Today we're diving into a moment that had the entire fandom replaying clips, slowing down videos, and asking the same question over and over again. Was Jungkook a little jealous when Jimin got too close to V? In a group like BTS, where affection is natural and bonds are deep, even the smallest glance can spark 1,000 theories. A quiet look, a subtle shift, a playful interruption. Sometimes it's not about what is said, but what is felt. So today, we're not here for drama. We're here to talk about emotions. The kind that slip through for just a second before a smile covers them. The kind that make friendships feel real, layered, and beautifully human. Let's rewind that moment together. Talking about years of shared dorm rooms, whispered conversations at 3 a.m., laughter behind camera lenses, and emotions that sometimes slip through even the tightest professionalism. And among the many bonds fans have observed over the years, the connection between Jungkook, Jimin, and V, also known as Taehyung, has always sparked endless discussion. There was one particular period that had ARMY talking nonstop. It wasn't about a scandal. It wasn't about controversy. It was about something much more human, jealousy. It started subtly. During a behind-the-scenes clip from a rehearsal, Jimin and Taehyung were seen laughing closely together. Their shoulders touched. Taehyung leaned in to whisper something in Jimin's ear. Jimin's eyes crinkled into that soft crescent smile we all know so well. The camera cut briefly, but not before catching Jungkook glancing in their direction. Now, on the surface, it was nothing unusual. BTS members are affectionate. Skinship is common. They hug, they lean, they tease. But fans who have followed their dynamic for years noticed something different in Jungkook's expression. It wasn't anger. It wasn't irritation. It was quieter than that. A fleeting look. The pause. Later in the same footage, Jungkook positioned himself between them during a group formation. Coincidence? Maybe. But the timing felt almost cinematic. Jealousy is a delicate topic, especially when discussing people who share such deep friendships. Jungkook and Taehyung, famously known as the 95Z Magne Line duo, have their own history of closeness. Taehyung once openly admitted they went through a rough patch during their trainee days but grew stronger because of it. And Jimin, often described as the emotional glue of the group, has a unique bond with each member. But the bond between Jungkook and Jimin has always carried a different energy. Over the years, Jungkook has shown an almost instinctive attentiveness toward Jimin. Watching him during performances, mirroring his movements, reacting strongly when Jimin gets hurt or overly tired. During interviews, Jungkook has described Jimin as someone who understands him without many words. That kind of connection doesn't disappear overnight. So when fans saw Jimin and Taehyung being unusually close during that era, playfully clinging to each other backstage, sharing inside jokes, even sitting side by side during live streams, it stirred curiosity. Jungkook's reactions became the focus. In one live broadcast, Jimin rested his head on Taehyung's shoulder while they read comments. Taehyung wrapped an arm casually around him. Jungkook, sitting on the other side, fell noticeably quiet. When Jimin leaned further into Taehyung, Jungkook suddenly started talking more loudly, joking exaggeratedly, almost as if reclaiming attention. Was it intentional? We can't say for sure. But body language often reveals what words don't. There was another moment during a fan event where Taehyung complimented Jimin's visuals repeatedly. "You're really handsome today," he said with that deep, playful tone. Jimin laughed shyly. Jungkook, standing nearby, responded with a teasing comment about Taehyung exaggerating. The smile was there, but so was something sharper beneath it. Jealousy doesn't always come from insecurity. Sometimes it comes from care, from habit, from being used to a certain closeness that suddenly shifts. Jungkook has always been expressive in subtle ways. He may not openly declare feelings often, but he acts. If Jimin looks tired, Jungkook hovers nearby. If Jimin jokes about something self-deprecating, Jungkook quickly counters it. During concerts, he frequently glances at Jimin during emotional songs, as if checking in silently. So seeing Jimin gravitate toward Taehyung more visibly during that period likely felt unfamiliar. Fans also noticed how Jungkook would initiate more physical contact with Jimin shortly after those moments. Standing closer, resting a hand briefly on his back, playfully nudging him. It wasn't aggressive. It felt almost subconscious, like someone adjusting to protect their place. But here's the beautiful part. None of this ever turned into tension. Because at the end of the day, their foundation is friendship. Taehyung and Jimin share a long history too. They trained together before debut. They struggled side by side. They have their own private language of comfort. And Jungkook, the youngest, grew up between these hyungs, forming bonds that are layered and complex. In a later interview, Jungkook once mentioned that when the members are very close with each other, he sometimes feels left out, but that it motivates him to express himself more. That statement alone adds depth to those earlier moments. Maybe what fans perceived as jealousy was simply a young man navigating emotions within a tightly knit family. And Jimin? He has always been affectionate freely. He doesn't limit warmth to one person. His personality is naturally nurturing. He leans, he hugs, he laughs loudly with whoever is beside him. That doesn't diminish one bond in favor of another. Over time, the jealous Jungkook narrative softened. Instead, fans began to see the bigger picture, three individuals with intertwined histories, growing up under intense public scrutiny, learning how to balance friendship, fame, and personal space. There was a heartwarming full-circle moment months later during a concert ending meant. Jimin stood between Taehyung and Jungkook. He grabbed both their hands and lifted them together. Jungkook didn't hesitate. Taehyung smiled brightly. The crowd roared. That image said more than any speculation ever could. If jealousy existed, it wasn't destructive. It was human, fleeting, part of emotional growth. And perhaps that's why these moments resonate so deeply with fans. Because they remind us that even global superstars experience the same small pangs of possessiveness and vulnerability that we do. The difference is, theirs happen under cameras. In the end, Jungkook's jealousy wasn't about rivalry. It was about attachment, about cherishing a connection so deeply that any shift feels noticeable. But rather than breaking anything, it only highlighted how strong their bonds truly are. BTS has always emphasized brotherhood. Not perfection, not flawless harmony, but commitment to working through emotions together. So when we look back at those clips now, they don't feel dramatic. They feel tender, like glimpses into a real friendship navigating real feelings in real time. And maybe that's what makes their story so compelling. Not because of jealousy, but because of how gently they move through it.